Welcome. Well, the stream. Hold on. Give me this. Welcome to the stream. Stand by. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing great. Happy Saturday. Hope you're having a great morning. Hope you slept well. I was asleep last night by 1:15 a.m. and it fucking sucked. No, I'm just joking. I slept till like 9:15, so I feel great. A little bit of caffeine. Haven't injected quite yet. Just been a busy morning. Been injecting a little later than usual. Just a tad bit later than usual. As you guys know, let me quick do a download of this image so I can bring it into the stream. I just launched the Mastering Testosterone Cypionate course. Here is the cover here. Mastering Testosterone Cypionate goes through every possible protocol that you could imagine to dial in on Cypionate. Yeah, it's a hard ester to dial in. Yeah, it does. I mean, it's not that you can just run your 200 milligrams or 150 milligrams even. I mean, some people have problems on 120 milligrams, no matter how the fuck it's injected, and get libido and erection. Cypionate is, of all the esters, I think definitively say that it's the hardest one to dial in regarding libido and erections. So I built a course teaching you how to do it, which runs through everything. You know, if you need to dial in on Masteron with testosterone cypionate, there are protocols for that. If you need to dial in on Primobolan with cypionate, there are protocols for that. If you need to dial in on Proviron, there are protocols for that. If you need DHT itself, there are protocols for that. Sources, by the way, resources for everything you could possibly need are in the course as well. We're not doing a source list anymore. Just going to include in some of the courses. You can buy this literally now at livecortex.com. I'll leave it on the screen. I'll put it up here just as a reminder to folks. And let's get started. A couple things to talk about right away. The first of them being ultradose HCG. You know, since I went down to 100 milligrams a week just as an experiment to see if what I've been seeing in client work will actually work for me, in that a low dose of TAS with a little bit of a Anavar or some other anabolic works well. It's been working phenomenally. I haven't taken Anavar in quite some time. Feeling fucking great. But the interesting thing about being at 100 milligrams a week for me now is that I can tolerate more HCG without it taking estrogen over range. And in fact, you know, kind of the higher I go up to a threshold of HCG, the better sexual function is. It's kind of crazy. I've always wanted to be able to tolerate 300 IU or something a day, because I know generally, you know, your own system testicularly functioning good is one of the major drivers of sexual success on TRT. The problem with that is, and why people think HCG is a problem, because it can be, is that, you know, their dose of test is pretty high. They're aromatizing a lot. Then they try to bring in enough HCG to keep the system really, really maxed out, and they lose erection quality. And you would lose erection quality in that case because estrogen goes too high. That's just the bottom fucking line. But if your test dose is pretty on the low end, or just a regular TRT dose, like 100 to 120 milligrams, you can tolerate more HCG. And it's pretty fucking awesome, man. So just keep that in mind for people. You know, there is such a thing as lower dose TAS with a little higher HCG, and that dialing people in. It's a protocol I've seen work over and over again over the years. And so working for me. Last thing I'll quick talk about is protein needs for gains. And historically, because I'm not a fucking bodybuilder, I have not been, you know, I just haven't really given a shit about protein. You know, I haven't really focused on it. And I think that if you were to ask any bodybuilder about protein, they'd be like, dude, you're doing it wrong. You need at least a gram of protein per body weight, or whatever it ends up being. And, you know, you fucking need the protein, dude. And for me, I always kind of was like, yeah, whatever. As long as I have enough test, I can build muscle. And that was generally the case. But lately, I've been eating a lot more protein. And I got to say, the gains are coming faster. And I feel fucking fuller. And I look better. And it's easier for me at the gym. Protein really does matter, boys. I'll give you an update on my physique at this point. Here's a half flex. This is after a pump. So you can actually see kind of me just after the gym. That's pretty much what I look like right now. This was taken literally yesterday. Just a half pump. Here's that no pump, no flex, just kind of me hanging out in my living room. But the flex, this is where our pumps are just so fucking insane. And they make you look substantially different than you would if you didn't have a pump. This is me with a fucking full flex and a full pump. Looking pretty gnarly at the moment, man. Feeling pretty happy with it. Shoulders are nice and big. You know, chest is getting there. Yeah, I got a little body fat on me, so the abs aren't quite there, and I really don't give a shit about that. I like to eat. I'm not going to starve myself, and I don't feel good when I'm dieting. So kind of that's where I'm at the moment. I feel great, and the crazy part about how big I look there and how big I fucking feel and how strong I am is I'm on 100 milligrams of test. You know, I am taking about 300 IU of HCG every day, so that is more of my own testosterone being produced, and right now it is all working out. All right, so it looks like we got some questions, so let's fucking get to it. Those of you that are in here that are just jumping on, load those questions in, boys. Because I want to see them. I want to see them. I want to see him in the Coliseum. All right, let's get started. How do you reduce blood pressure on TRT? 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams a day. Cialis will help that to a significant degree. So just something to keep in mind. Otherwise, you might be looking at taking some prescription blood pressure lowering things. But I think the bottom line is that if on just TRT you have high blood pressure, you really need to look at your body and your lifestyle and try to, fucking do some more cardio and sleep well and not drink as much and do everything else that you can to make sure that your blood pressure is not high. Historically, my blood pressure has always been on the lower end of things, and I believe that is not a genetic thing. I don't even really believe it's a lifestyle thing because I do eat a good degree of sodium. What it really is that I've been a runner for like 17 years or something. Ever since prepping for the Army when I was 19 to 20 and then jumping in the... So I've been a runner on and off, but mostly on for 20 years. So, running dramatically fucking changes how your heart pumps blood to the rest of your body and makes it so that you kind of end up on the lower end of the scale on blood pressure. So you might just want to take up jogging. If you took up jogging, I bet your blood pressure would lower. Yeah, I bet it would. Otherwise, there are plenty of compounds for that. You probably want to look at watching some bodybuilders, particularly Vigorous Steve, talk about blood pressure. I'm sure he's got an entire breakdown on it that can do you a lot more justice than I can at the moment. Something to think about. Brother, Zachary, been using 250 IU HCG, but it's 3 weeks old now. Yet I still have some left in the vial. Should I increase my dose to get the same effect? No, I wouldn't. I would leave it alone. Yeah, generally HCG lasts about 3 weeks to 4 weeks. I mean, at the 3 week mark these days, because I'm getting, UGL 5,000 IU HCG, like 10 vials of 5,000 IU HCG for $160, which is absolute highway robbery. It's a steal for me. It's amazing considering Pregnal's $260 from Defy Medical, which is ridiculous. Again, resources in the Mastering Testosterone Cypionate course. We don't have a sourceless anymore. It's phenomenal, but after 3 weeks, just because I have so much of it, I just throw it away. If I were you, that's what I would do. Get Mastering Test Sip. There's resources in there for way cheaper HCG than you can find anywhere else. And, that's what I would pursue moving forward. Otherwise, I would not increase your dose at this point, because if the peptide is still pretty stable, you increase the dose, you're going to increase estradiol. That might fuck things up. Man. So I wouldn't do that if I were you. Great question, though, brother. Biscuit. What's up, Ryan? Do you know what are the most common T assays used in the United States labs? Doing research on shortcomings of different assays, so I need to pinpoint the most common. Yeah, you need LCMS. The immunoassay one is I believe it's the immunoassay total testosterone. Is pretty inaccurate. I did an entire video on that where it's like it had my total test at 1,300, the immunoassay. And then I took the more accurate one, the LCMS one, and it was 1,900. Same day, bro. Same dose, no change in anything. So, that's something. Actually, it was the next day at the same time, just to make sure there was no variations and fluctuations. I was running a stable protocol at the moment at that time. So, I had a 600 nanograms per deciliter difference between the immunoassay total testosterone test and the fucking LCMS. Always take the LCMS if you want accurate readings of total test. Free test seems to be pretty accurate across both of those tests, but who cares? Get the LCMS so that you have an accurate total and free. That's the best way to go, brother. Jesse James, best way to raise estrogen above 10 when testosterone is already at 900 from 100 milligrams of enanthate HCG as well, 400 IU Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Well, is your 400 IU a week or is that 400 IU Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Because the way to do that would be to just dose more HCG. Yep. Yeah, low estrogen will make you urinate a fucking ton as well. Yeah, if your estrogen is at 10, that's somewhat of a problem. Are you taking anything that's acting as an aromatase inhibitor? You know, are you taking Masteron or Primobolan? Because that would do it. Anything else in your regimen that might be, inhibiting aromatase? Have you taken AIs? What's going on here? This is abnormal to have 900 total test and 10 estradiol. Are you sure that's estradiol sensitive too? If you're urinating, that is a classic symptom of very low estrogen. It's a classic symptom. When I go below 20, call it, especially into the teens, I've been there before as well, with AIs and without. But it took me 70 milligrams a week to get down to 12. So I guess 100 makes sense if you're not dosing a lot of HCG. I was pissing my fucking brains out, and I couldn't hold water, and I started feeling dehydrated, and my water salt balance got all fucked up. It was not good. I imagine that could be catastrophic eventually if you just stayed in that state. So, I mean, if I were you, I'd increase the HCG dose. That's really it. The more you increase that test, the more the estrogen is going to go up, and you're in a spot now where if you increase the HCG more to maybe 200 to 300 IU every day, then you can get that estradiol up to maybe 17, 18 to 25, and that's going to be a perfect sweet spot for sexual function and everything else. So that's what I would suggest you do, bro. Preston, since DHT powder is no longer available, it basically just got bought out, since we promoted it so much and had the source list up and stuff. Resources now in video courses like the one on the screen. ChatGPT says topical Proviron and DMSO will be about 3/4 as effective. What are your thoughts? Only in context of mental androgenic DHT fills. Well, if you want the mental androgenic DHT fills, just take Proviron itself. It will do it just take it orally. If you were to get some DMSO and chop some Proviron up, you could do that. You'd have to then put a lotion or gel like aloe vera or something to make it make sense. Otherwise, you're rubbing a very chemically smelling DMSO plus chopped up Proviron on your body, and that shit smells terrible. Trust me, it smells fucking bad, dude. DMSO is the most chemically smelling shit you could ever put on your body. And it's weird, dude, right? It's fucking weird, man. You don't want that. So, use some aloe vera. Use some otherwise lotion if you chop this up and make it happen. I've never tried this before, so, good luck. I would wager for sure, because I have made my own DHT gel, that you got to get that powder really, really fine. And you got to stir the fuck out of it, man. If you could use one of those, handheld electric stirrers and make enough of this, which would require, I don't know, a gram of, just a lot of Proviron, then do that. Nico Voigt, what's your opinion on transdermal DHEA and pregnenolone? I'm okay on these, but I can't tolerate oral DHEA. Why not? I wonder if you're metabolizing it in some funky way, which is hitting you right away too quickly. What's happening there? I would love to know how you've determined you can't tolerate oral DHEA. Transdermal might be fine as well. I think transdermal is going to get you a quicker absorption of it all, and then a quicker, exiting of your body. So you'll have to sort of react accordingly there. Ryan, 100% a gram protein. I went from not caring, probably less than 50 grams a day, to starting 200 grams a day. And I say for me, a huge difference on metabolism and muscle. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Honestly, I've been going out with my chick like every night or every other night. And, I still eat well, and we squeeze in salads and lettuce and even salads and shit with our meals when we're out. But when you're out, you can't really get particularly healthy stuff. But the one thing that I've been doing a lot is just eating a lot of wings, lots of wings. So like the protein quantity in my diet, it's got to be an extra 100, 150 grams a day compared to where I was, which was immeasurable because I never measured it. I never gave a fuck about protein, but I don't think I'm a whole lot bigger than I was, but for sure right now, considering I've been eating a ton of protein and with a pump, them shoulders are looking pretty fucking good, man. I'm feeling real good, and I'm not on gear, dude. I'm not on any gear whatsoever, nor am I on a sports TRT dose, And a lot of this is attributable to hard fucking work consistently at the gym. We can't forget that. But at the same time, a lot of protein. I am eating a lot of protein now. And since doing that, it has made a difference in my physique. So no question, the protein is important, boys. It's more important than I ever gave it credence. I know all the bodybuilders and people that lift weights and recognize it are like, yeah, stupid. It's fucking, of course it is. Yeah, my bad, bro. I'm not a bodybuilder. Just kind of, just in the last 2 years gotten into straightening my physique out and stuff. So that's where we're at, brother. Will Farrell, just want to say thanks for putting me on a DHT gel. And for Sourceless. Sourceless is killed, but resources are in mastering testosterone cypionate. Proviron did nothing for me, but DHT was effective and powerful and very quickly. Yeah, sometimes Proviron's like that. You might have to take a lot of it in order to get the same result. I think chat basically described the potency difference between Proviron and DHT, and I forget what it is, but ultimately DHT is so much more powerful than Proviron itself. If you get the 20% concentration, which again, resources in the video courses, that shit, you do not need a lot of it. And you could overdose on DHT, not in a deleterious way, but in a way which shuts down estrogen at the gene level pretty quickly. Yeah, you could DHT max. This is a thing called DHT maxing, which for sure is insane in terms of vascularity, the mental side of libido, as long as it isn't crushing estrogen's gene expression, but also confidence and masculinity. If you just like say you didn't even really need your dick to work, but you needed to be like super productive and just feel like an absolute killer, you just max on DHT and you're going to be that way. Take enough HCG and test at the same time, and your estrogen will be fine. But Proviron does not really compare to DHT. DHT itself is much more powerful. Dream big. What's causing HCG to increase some people's blood pressure? Dave Lee and others can't really understand why this is happening with some individuals. Yeah, it's estrogen. It's just estrogen. That's it. Maybe some degree of progesterone or something. But I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, the mechanism of action for that is Leydig cell stimulation of aromatization, which is independent of the testosterone that you're producing in the Leydig cells. So the testosterone you produce from HCG, binding to the luteinizing hormone chorionic gonadotropin receptors, is going to convert to estradiol. But guess what? Independently of that, there's research papers on this, HCG just makes your balls make estrogen, okay, to put it very simply. And so when you're doing that and adding more estrogen to the mix, guess what you do? You increase the blood concentrations of arginine vasopressin. And arginine vasopressin, otherwise known as antidiuretic hormone, causes you to retain fluids. And when you retain fluids, your blood pressure goes up. So look no further than science for that. I think one of the reasons that Dave, and God bless his soul, he's a smart, fucking awesome human being, his position is can't really understand what's happening is because he doesn't, look at the crew that he ultimately hangs with. He doesn't want to come out and say it's estrogen. I can't see it being any other thing than estrogen, considering what HCG does to the Leydig cells regarding estradiol, and considering what estradiol does directly to arginine vasopressin. I think that's pretty fucking clear to me. There's also a mechanism by which estrogen increases aldosterone, which is going to make you retain more sodium. So not only are you retaining more fluids, but you're also retaining more fucking sodium, which is absolutely positively going to increase blood pressure. That's the answer. Balls of steel. Oh my God. Is it possible to take TRT in a way that your own natural production doesn't completely shut down? You'd probably be looking at 5 milligrams of prop a day. Yeah, I think that's the only way to do that, but it is possible. Otherwise, there's oral TRT these days, which I don't suggest taking because, it doesn't really convert to the metabolites all that much. It's like these pills that you can take, or nasal spray TRT. It's like gel that you put in your nose. I don't really think that's good, but there you wouldn't shut down your natural production all that much. Who knows? Some of those modalities, might be mainstay in the future. For right now, there's plenty of ways to dial in on injections of all esters, as well as cream. I'm so dialed in right now on a lot of HCG and 100 milligrams of test that I don't really want to change anything. You know what I mean? My fucking physique is rocking. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fucking strong. And feel good sexual function is ridiculous. I mean, dude, my boners are out of fucking control, dude. Out of control, brother. Ask my chick, man. Best way to optimize cycle to treat PSSD currently on 300 milligrams test and 750 IU HCG. Well, this is the bottom line with cycles regarding some of these sexual dysfunction things. Sometimes you need a cycle to just give you a boatload of DHT. You know, the problem with these situations is that you tend to over aromatize and under convert to DHT. So then estrogen is going to come up and cause problems. I honestly think you need a continuous lack of exposure or a lower exposure of estradiol over a long period of time for things to get better sexually, as well as enough test and DHT. So sometimes cycles work for these people. You get them on a cycle. It wouldn't be 300 milligrams a test, though. It'd be like 500 milligrams, 600 milligrams a test. I think that HCG dose is fine. And then a lot of these guys get better by doing that, and then they PCT off. You know, they take Clomid for a while, they get their natural function back, and then everything comes back. And it's probably because they had a high exposure to androgen, specifically DHT, and that went and remodeled the architecture of the vasculature of the penis. So that, you know, then blood vessel function and all the nerve endings that deal with sensation, the actual structures that deal with sensation, like the dorsal nerve, regenerate or get better, and then, you know, they're fine. But generally speaking, the process of this whole idea of like run a cycle and then stop taking tests and then run a cycle again, and that's somehow going to cure these things, more often than not, it doesn't work, and more often than not, consistently on the right dose of an HRT protocol works. Any thoughts on amino asylum shutdown? Is there an alternative source in the course? Can't really talk about that, but yeah, absolutely there is in the course. Regarding amino asylum, I don't know. I did notice that their website was fucked, and I'm not sure what's going on there, but they've probably moved to another website or something in between. LCMS, total testosterone, is not rare to find in most places. And well, listen, I'll give you this. If it is, then just go to discountedlabs.com and buy it there, because it's there. Benefits of taking Proviron or DHT when using 3 pumps of transcranial cream. The only benefit would be is if you're aromatizing a lot, you like that dose, you feel good, but you're aromatizing a lot, and estrogen's fucking with sexual function. You know, then adding a little bit of DHT will block some of that gene expression of estrogen, and then sexual function will return. You know, the biggest cause of sexual dysfunction on TRT is just estrogen. That's it. It's not HCG itself. HCG is estrogenic, so it's indirectly a cause. But it's just estrogen, man. So, you know, doesn't mean estrogen isn't beneficial and all these things that some of the pro-estrogen camps want to say, but without looking at some of the very clear studies on cutoffs and picograms per milliliter above which you get erectile dysfunction are a lot more likely to have that. But bottom line is estrogen. It's all fucking estrogen. Yeah. You know, we have it to some degree. Our range ends at 29 picograms per milliliter on Quest, man. There's a reason for that. There's a reason our range ends there, you know, and 40 at LabCorp. So somewhere in that area is where you need to be generally. Some people lower. And I don't know why that's controversial. So I really don't know. I've been in the literature. I'm not biased in one way or the other. I fucking coach people for a living on this. The estrogen needs to be right. So if it isn't here, then that's when to take Proviron or DHT. Okay. Andrew, am I taking any AI these days? Nope. At 100 milligrams a week right now at test, it's 98 in total, 14 milligrams a day. I'm running 5/8 inch insulin needles, which are fucking awesome because they actually get in the muscle. I'm injecting in the glute every day. I could hit my delta if I wanted to and I'd get through, but I can tell you that for me personally, the 1/2 inch needles, I get, it's like sometimes I'm in the muscle and I can feel that dull puncture, and other times I'm getting sub-Q and extremely shallow intramuscular. The reason they call it shallow is because it is. With the 1/2 inch needles, insulin syringes. You go 5/8 inch, man, you're almost at an inch. But those are insulin syringes, so they're thin, high gauge. They don't hurt. It's not like harpooning yourself. It is the perfect solution, boys. 5/8 inch needles, get them on Amazon. 5/8 inch insulin syringes, needles. Search that. You'll find them. I've done videos on that. They are in the Mastering Testosterone Cypionate course, you know. The actual screenshot, the actual link for Amazon to get them is in that course. For sure, something to do. But yeah, no, these days that's what I'm doing. I'm not running any Anavar at this point. I was on and off for about 3 weeks, had some side effects, also didn't give a fuck. Was like, whatever, let me just try running, you know, low dose tests, a lot of HCG, 300 IU a day right now. feeling fucking great, feeling phenomenal, looking great. I'm not a bodybuilder, but I think I'm doing okay. Shoulders are looking big. I'm feeling really strong at the gym. It's kind of amazing, but I'm eating a lot of protein and that's helping a lot. No AI though. I don't need one. Yeah, I need a metagestrant 120 or above. 120 or above, no matter what HCG dose or whatever. I just need to metagestrant at that point. And that's just me. We figured out, and we're going to be talking more about that on the channel with Ryan Roots Guy Jay, if I can get a hold of him, if I have the time to reach out to them, where some people via some neurological stuff like need lower estrogen. Yeah, this is what people have found out. That's why you can't take this advice, let estrogen go, everybody's this way. I've known intuitively from the gate, but also what coaching tells me not everyone's the same. Not everyone's the same. Some people just require lower estrogen. I'm one of those people. And I think a lot of other people are as well. You're going to find that in the forums. Don't have a whole lot of opinions on this. I don't think blocking estrogen receptors are a good idea, ever. MG, wife and I want to have it. Sorry, my fucking half flex is still up there. MG, wife and I are trying to have a kid. Stop test per doc's request, but I have 0 sperm. Had me on a clomiphene. Should I add HCG? If I were you, what I would have done is stayed on a low dose of test, like 100 milligrams a week, and just added a lot of HCG. Because you can tolerate more and sexual function won't go completely awry or awry at all. Doing that on a low dose of test with some HCG. And then you would get, you'd be fertile. If that didn't work, yeah, I guess going off and going on HCG monotherapy would be one of the answers. I would also go and watch and search through Vigorous Steve's documenting of his fertility journey, because this is a guy that took steroids for a long time, which obviously means there's significant testicular atrophy in the sperm producing cells. And he managed to have a kid, and his wife is going to be delivering anytime soon, any day now. Flip K, thank you for the super chat, brother. Question is definitely not related to TRT, but I am curious. Why do I always feel tired, sleepy, and feel nothing good from any nootropic? Taking 9-BC or eating bromotan, any racetam. Well, first of all, are you taking them all together? Because if so, one can counteract the other. It could be taxing your liver at some level if you're not taking, Todka or what's that other stuff? Not Lemon Balm, but the other stuff. I forget off the top of my head. I haven't taken it in a while. So, I mean, that could be why. At the same time, if you feel tired from taking any nootropics, you're likely just increasing acetylcholine too high. And that could, through an unknown mechanism, cause you to be tired. One of the mechanisms, I think, is you upregulate cholinesterase, which is an enzyme that clears acetylcholine. So while you think you're putting a bunch in there by taking citicholine or whatever, what's actually happening is you're clearing too much of it via that enzyme upregulating. Just for homeostasis, the brain does that. So that's why, if you feel tired generally, go get a hormone panel. But go to discountedlabs.com and buy every hormone yourself so that you can test everything. Free hormones and total hormones. That includes thyroid hormones and sex hormones. There you can figure out what's wrong. Obviously, if you really want to be comprehensive, you should test vitamin D and all the B vitamins too. Run a CBC CMP also and see if there's anything skewed there. It's unlikely you're going to have like low calcium levels or some shit. So yeah, that's where I would start, man. Nemo, can the right HRT program relieve the neurosteroid issues with PFS, or can valproate protocols only do that? All right, I'm going to say this one time only. All right, do not take sodium valproate. Okay, it can be a dangerous fucking drug. There is no reason to take that drug if you have PFS. You are operating from a theory which you seem to think is correct, that there are, ongoing neurosteroid issues, or what you're really implying is that there are gene problems, which there might be, but you can affect genes just from using testosterone. You can fix venous leakage from using testosterone, and you can replenish neurosteroids from taking DHEA and HCG. So, if you're not getting better from doing that, then it's just a bad protocol. Yeah. Just a bad protocol. Yeah. I mean, I might build a course specifically on PFS and PSSD for people. But the testosterone cypionate master failsafe protocol, which is in the course that you're looking at on the top right of the screen, also will in most cases fix PFS, PSSD. The biggest piece of advice I can give you regarding PFS regarding what people are saying on the internet is don't listen to them. Yeah, don't listen to them. I work with people with PFS all the time. I've never used sodium fucking valproate. I've never seen the need to use that, and I've seen people have significant side effects from that shit. What people are saying is hypothesizing. They heard Russo say it. You know what I mean? And Russo had been taking all manner of shit. How do we know what was really going on with Russo? How do we know? We don't really know. Any blood markers checking specifically before starting oxandrolone? Yeah, LDL, HDL. If LDL is high and HDL is low, you probably don't want to take it because it's going to strip HDL particles and make it so that it is lower. And it's going to increase your LDL and probably your ApoB. ApoB specifically is one of the most reliable markers for increasing the chance of the cardiovascular problems later on in your life. So you do not want high ApoB. So look at apolipoprotein B, look at LDL cholesterol, and look at HDL cholesterol. And if either of them are over range in the case of LDL or under range in the case of HDL, don't take Anavar. Get them straight via other stuff and then run the cycle. No take on this, but I have been hearing a lot about it. I heard the anabolic doc talk about it recently, Dr. Thomas O'Connor. So he apparently thinks it's popular, so that's something for to think about. Chris, 400 milligrams of test sip, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 40. Okay. So you're running 120 total a week. That's pretty good. 10 milligrams per Proviron AM and PM. Got it. 10 milligrams progesterone cream. PFS completely gone. Took about a year to dial in. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know that the progesterone cream's doing a whole lot for you there, but it can inhibit 5-alpha reductase enzymes, so don't take in any more than that. Don't take more than 10 milligrams a day. But at the same time, because you're taking Proviron, you're getting DHT-like effect at the androgen receptor, so that's probably countering the progesterone, which, in the end, my assessment would be the progesterone isn't doing anything for you. And thank God you have Proviron in there, otherwise the progesterone would make it so you don't get better. Yeah. Progesterone is what 5-alpha reductase converting your mother's HCG to test and DHT when you're in the womb is what makes you a man, and progestogenic action is what would prevent that. Yep, and make you a female. So I think you want to think about that progesterone cream moving forward. But for right now, the Proviron is absolutely, and the DHT that you might be getting from the test is helping to offset that. So that would be, those are my thinking out loud thoughts on that. Nemo, any recommendations on protecting from BPH risk if you're taking Proviron? No, none really. I mean, I think that I've never seen DHT itself. Proviron might be a different story because it's a different drug and metabolizes differently, but DHT, your prostate levels of dihydrotestosterone do not change in the presence of exogenous DHT. Yeah, it regulates its own DHT in an internal organ-like manner. So, this notion that DHT causes prostate problems has actually been proven wrong. Yeah, it's been proven wrong. You need estrogen in the presence of DHT in order to cause prostate problems. Yeah, look no further than estradiol. Or estrogens in general. Have you noticed a quality difference in how you feel between Pregnol, HCG, and UGL? No, not at all. Not at all. That's why I'm perfectly okay with running, HCG from one of the resources in Mastering Testosterone Cypionate course, and I have been for the longest time. I'm getting 10,000. I'm getting 5 times 10, getting fucking 50,000 IU in total for $160, and just 5,000 IU vials, 10 of them. It's amazing. And I noticed no difference. The difference that I would say I would notice is that probably, again, after 3 weeks or so, I throw them away. They start to almost definitely lose potency, whereas Pregnol might be 4 weeks, They say it's 6 weeks or something, and I are 40 something days. I don't think that's true. Just marketing, man. Love taking Anavar. Yeah, Anavar is crazy. It's the most for me, I haven't taken a whole lot of anabolics, but it's certainly the most noticeable in terms of how you feel, but also in terms of, the pumps via creatine phosphate resynthesis, among other things. your pumps are crazy with it, man. And you grow. You really, really do grow using Anavar, dude. I mean, there's just isn't a case where you would take even a low dose of 10 milligrams a day of Anavar and not grow. Shit's crazy. Conan. Any advice on DHT gel and beard growth? Yeah, people say, all I can say is that people report rubbing DHT gel on the beard, on your face, and having success with increasing beard growth. So might be something to think about, brother. I don't have any direct experience with it, though, but it does work. When I was rubbing DHT gel all over my body, I was rubbing it at different places. I was growing hair at weird places, and I also started growing hair up here, which I never really did. I was growing like fucking whiskers up there and had to start shaving it and stuff. So, that might be a testament to that. Dream big. Will taking 200 milligrams of Masteron a week improve drive and productivity? Where 100 milligrams would. I think 100 would, absolutely. But, Masteron is a very, very, very comparable to actual DHT. Yeah, it's a DHT backbone that's just made to metabolize differently so that, you get muscle denseness and fullness without really gaining weight. It is anabolic, but you got to take a lot of it to be like super anabolic. But it's more physique sculpting. 100 milligrams will work. Could 20% DHT gel work against estrogen to cause symptoms of low E2 like joint pain? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it could. Absolutely it could. Yeah, if you get that 20% stuff, again, resources in mastering testosterone cypionate, I'm working on a prop course, dialing in on prop, the God Esther. So that's going to launch soon. That'll also have resources and stuff in it. You can get that 20% DHT gel, and if you take that shit at even 0.5 mils, like 0.5 mils a day, you're almost definitely gonna cause low E2 like symptoms. I mean, it's so powerful at blocking the estrogen effect at the gene level that you'll notice low E2 symptoms taking it. Yep, you will. You will. And people have varying degrees of sensitivity to that, right? So some individuals will take 0.25 milliliters of the DHT gel every other day, put on the shafter or whatever, and it's going to give them low E2 symptoms. So you just got to find your dose just like everything else. Simon Stone, total test in E2 currently at 100 milligrams a week. Total test last check was 786. Free test, I forget, estradiol 27 picograms per milliliter. That's with 300 IU HCG every day. Daily injections, intramuscular with a 5/8 inch needle of 14 milligrams a day. Yeah, I'm at 780 something and 27 estradiol, which is my fucking zone, bro. I mean, my boners are out of this world, and I'm horny all the time, and I just want to rip my girl's clothes off and, slap her in the butt and all that good shit. But I mean, it's a testament to like, I just got tired after a while of having to take Primo, Masteron, like microdoses of Aromasin, DHT itself, all that experimenting I did, and I figured out how to dial other people in using that stuff too, and it's perfectly cool. But sometimes you don't want to spend the money on it. Sometimes you don't want to take other compounds. I've done so much experimenting over the last 3 years, a heavy experimentation period, everything from cycles to high dose DHT, low dose test to fucking lots of Proviron to Primo and Masteron in addition to TRT. And I just kind of got tired of doing all that and was like, you know what? I have a lot of coaching to do. I have a lot of stuff to do. And I'd rather just take a few compounds and fucking ride off in the sunset for now. And that's where I'm at. So estradiol, late 20s, upper 20s, total test, just about 800. Feel fucking phenomenal. What dosage would you suggest if 40 milligrams every other day test prop is causing estrogen issues? I think you need to look at that estrogen and see where it's at. The only thing I can suggest would be to not do that and do 20 milligrams a day to start, and then run estradiol sensitive again after 2 weeks, and also note your symptoms and see if that's still happening. Otherwise, move down stepwise, like 18 milligrams a day, 16 milligrams a day, 15 milligrams a day. I mean, you can all the way get down to 10 milligrams a day of test prop, and for some people, it's going to give them what they need. Shit's powerful. DNAV, I'm a high aromatizer and still notice one-on-one test prop and Masteron leaves me the high E2 symptoms. Lowering test P. Yeah, lower the test P and see what happens. If you're a high aromatizer, see, I wish I was like you because I'm not a high aromatizer. But and I wish that I could tolerate loads of Masteron. You might just be able to take 200 milligrams of Masteron instead of 100 if that's kind of where you're at. Iron Addict forgot to mention also taking 5 milligrams of day Cialis to take minoxidil for hair loss about 2 years ago. All right, I don't remember the context of your situation, so super chat that if you want me to answer it. Andor, what is my opinion about Ovitrel HCG is good also? I think it's good quality. I mean, that and Pregnal, they're all good. Regarding metformin, what is my opinion on it for what? When is the Mastering Cream course coming out? Brother. Soon enough. Yeah, soon enough, man. Right now I'm working on mastering prop, just every protocol to dial in on prop, the order with which you should dial those protocols, and whether you start out with high dose plus aromacin, high dose plus DHC derivative or not. And protocols therein, even some hybrid protocols with prop and cream. But I think that's going to be a separate course, which is just prop and dialing in with prop. And then I'll create a cream one as well, which will be, pretty comprehensive and stuff, just like the rest of them, but might be a little cheaper because cream is pretty easy to dial in once you understand how to use it. So the prop course is going to be out probably by next week, if not the week after. So very soon, within 2 weeks, the prop course will be out. I've already got it about 30% written. I'm on the protocol lab sector of it right now. So getting all the protocols down, looking through all my data and notes from clients and getting those protocols in there, as well as kind of what's in my head. So soon enough, bro. Soon enough. But, make no mistake, everybody's on SIP, or a lot of people are on SIP, and that's what this course is. It's all my client data and all my experience with dosing and using test SIP to dial people in when no one could dial in, when they've paid other consultants loads of fucking money and these guys couldn't dial them in. They had them taking DHB and all this other garbage. And then we dial them in 3 weeks and their fucking erections are back and they thank me forever. And all that information is infused in the course as well as resources. That's all I'm going to say. Shit's awesome. You know what else I've been drinking a lot of is these Starbucks double shots. And it's great because it's just coffee, milk, sugar. It's just phenomenal. And they're cold. It's like 120 milligrams of caffeine per shot. They're this big. So you just open it up. It's a can, chug it. Love it. I drink one every morning in addition to very strong coffee. 300 IU per day right now, buddy. Split up into 150 in the morning and 150 at 4 p.m. Joe, have you noticed any differences on how nootropics affect you after starting TRT? Yeah, I think they're just more powerful. Like the torque stack, I don't really even take it much because I already feel fucking phenomenal all the time. But when I take it, it just is stronger than it was before. I mean, I hadn't actually launched torque when I started TRT. Torque wasn't out yet. Started TRT a long time ago. But definitely all nootropics after starting TRT, and especially getting on the right protocols over the years that worked for me, dialing each protocol in. Yeah, it just makes it more powerful. Makes it more powerful. Makes you need less of the stuff. I need less of pretty much everything that's stimulatory, with the exception of, I guess, caffeine, because I just love it. When using tests. I love TRT so fucking much. I will never get off of it. My bloods, my health, all great. TRT is, I'll be on it for the rest of my life, man. No question. Balls are functional. Everything's good. Everything works. Bloods look great. I think I'm doing pretty good at the gym. Shoulders are getting big. I'm just getting started, boys. Just getting started. Live Pack. Any thoughts on people with persistently low E2 symptoms after AI abuse, even after coming off E2 is back to normal? Well, I would say that for sure you haven't given it enough time. I mean, I don't think that that's a thing unless somehow there's nothing in the literature that says you damaged aromatase enzymes from taking AI. I just don't think that's possible. So I don't know. I mean, I think you just, you need to be sure that's exactly what's happening by running estradiol sensitive and try getting on some high dose prop. That'll peak estradiol pretty quickly. And then you can determine, is that really happening or is it something else? Am I on prop or anything? I'm on test SIP right now, 14 milligrams a day, 5/8" needle, right in the glute, 300 IU HCG every day. It's a protocol. It's a protocol where I do not have to take anything else. Yeah, I also take 40 milligrams of DHEA every day, 20 in the morning, 20 at about noon, which is soon here, 20 at about 4 or 5 p.m. Any chance I'm going to experiment with Sustanon? Right now, no. Will I include the SIP prop blend in the next course? No. I might talk about it, but I won't include protocols with it. We're just going to be doing strictly prop. Best way to control acne on these DHT add-ons. Acne sucks. Here's something really weird about acne. I had acne for like most of the time just being on TRT. Just TRT doses. 200 milligrams or below. And going to daily injections was one way to try to get it better, but it never got completely better. Now, here's something fucking weird. It was largely tolerable and okay, but I had it, and you would see it if my shirt was off. You'd see some of it on my back. When I ran a lot of cream on my shoulders, I had gotten a bunch of acne on my delts, which took like months to clear. But here's something fucking crazy. Then I went on a cycle of almost 600 milligrams a week. It was 560 of Enanthate. It's like 160 or something every other day, injected intramuscularly. And there was still some acne there, but as I was in the middle of the cycle, and then as I worked back down on test dose, my acne went away, right? My acne went away even on 300 milligrams a week, which was the next step down from 560. I was there for a month or so. My acne fucking went away. So, like, I can't explain this. I burnt out sebum production or some shit, but I got rid of my TRT-induced acne by going on a cycle. Like, and then after that, it's just gone. My back is clear. I can't show you my back, but there's like 2 or 3 here and there. There's like some acne, but it's not. You'd consider that normal. So go on a cycle, bro. I don't know. I mean, there might be some mechanism to doing that. Like you sort of, you tax out all that sebum or your body gets used to overloads of DHT, and then your body just adjusts. I don't really think I changed my diet. I mean, have I added anything? Not really. Don't know. My last BW blood work was 847 total T 24 hours after last prop injection. 30 milligrams a day. That seemed low for that dose. 24 hours. What it means is that you peaked and troughed already. That's what that means. Accutane worked for acne, but fucked you up. It will, because it blocks DHT, man. There's other ways to do it, brothers. Again, there are so many ways to skin the cat, and some of it's counterintuitive. Like for me, I had acne the whole time on TRT, could get it under control by using various scrubs and staying clean and having a good lifestyle and all that, but it was still noticeably there. Then I go on a cycle and I never had it again. I mean, this was a year ago I went on that cycle, and I've never had it again. Never had it again. Why would one need to increase or lower DHEA dose? Really, the only reason that you would want to do that is if you've confirmed it's making you make too much estrogen, because it can. It can. The other reason might be that through some sort of what's the enzyme? I'm not going to remember the enzyme, but there's an enzyme that it inhibits, which could cause some additional hair loss on top of, which could give you hair loss. And so you back off the DHA or lower the dose a little bit, and that fixes that problem. Brothers. That's all I'm going to say about that, brothers. That's all I'm going to say about that, brothers. Hey, brothers. That's all I'm saying about it, brothers. Brothers. Hey, brothers. That's all I'm going to say about it, brothers. Brothers. That's all I'm saying, brothers. Mastering Testosterone Cypionate is now out. Okay. It is one of the most powerful courses you can get. It certainly is the most information-dense piece of content. It's an hour and 6 minutes long. It is a video course of yours truly, breaking down 30 protocols plus variations with DHT derivatives, AIs, low-dose protocols, anabolic ancillaries, anabolic protocols, DHT itself, Proviron, pretty much everything's in there. And if all else fails, I found a protocol that when you can't dial in on Cypionate, you do this protocol, and then libido and erections come roaring back, and that's in there as well. It's called the Testosterone Cypionate Failsafe, Master Failsafe Protocol. That's in the course. Go get it, livecortex.com. Go download it. There's a coupon code, which is 20NOW, which will also pop up on the website if you give us your email, which we will market to you then, so keep that in mind. I will personally draft emails and send them to you if you give me your email address. But in exchange, I'm going to give you discounts. So it's a trade-off, you know. So do that at livecortex.com. Go get the course. I put a lot of time into it. You'll be supporting us at the same time and also getting resources. And you guys know what that means. Captain Brother. Captain Brothers. Any other questions, boys, before we end the chat? Anything else going on here? Bro. What's up, brother? What's up? What's up, man? What's up, dude? Hope you're doing good, brethren. Well, in that case, boys, we're the stream. Hold on. Give me this. We're gonna end the stream. Have a nice day. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Kick-ass questions. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I know it's super sunny here, so I'm going to go kayaking with my girlfriend a little later today. I'm excited about that. Just excited about the fucking spring, man. I mean, the summer, rather. Just nice weather consistently. Hopefully we get that. It's been a hard. The winter was hard. The spring, to an extent, was hard. I am absolutely ready to just kind of enjoy the nice weather. Going to take a trip to Florida if I can soon. Just to kind of get off the map. I'll keep you guys posted. There won't be any content for 7 days when I do that, obviously. And I'm looking forward to it. And I hope those of you this summer can also get a vacation, right? You know, sometimes you need to reboot. You need to reboot, not to escape the world, but to not let the world escape you. Know what I mean? To stay happy, to stay engaged. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Later.